Good evening, and tonight, we travel back more than 700 years to a quiet village somewhere in medieval Europe. Before we begin, find a comfortable position, relax your shoulders, and allow the worries of the modern world to drift away. Tonight, there are no phones, no traffic, no deadlines, and no glowing screens. Only snow. Only silence. Only the slow rhythm of life in a medieval winter. Imagine that you are standing in the middle of a small village just before dawn. The sky above is still dark, painted in deep shades of navy blue and silver. A thin crescent moon hangs low over the frozen landscape. Snow covers everything. The rooftops. The fences. The narrow pathways. Even the branches of the ancient oak tree near the village well are heavy with fresh snow. The air is cold. Very cold. Each breath forms a cloud of white mist that drifts slowly into the darkness. You pull your wool cloak tighter around your shoulders. The village is asleep. No voices. No footsteps. Only the distant whisper of winter wind moving across the fields. Suddenly, somewhere beyond the cottages, a rooster announces the coming day. Its call echoes softly through the frozen air. A few moments later another answers. Then another. The village is beginning to wake. From the chimney of the nearest cottage, a thin line of smoke rises into the sky. Inside, someone has already stirred the fire. The smell of burning oak wood drifts through the cold morning. You walk slowly along the snowy path. Your boots crunch softly with every step. The sound is strangely comforting. The cottages around you are simple. Most are built from timber and stone. Their roofs are thickly covered with thatch, now hidden beneath layers of snow. Tiny windows glow with faint orange light. Inside these homes, families are gathering around fireplaces, preparing for another winter day. A dog sleeps beneath a wooden cart. Its fur is dusted with snowflakes. Nearby, a horse stands quietly inside a small stable. Warm clouds of breath rise from its nostrils. The animal seems perfectly accustomed to the cold. Winter has always been a difficult season here. The villagers know this well. Every year they prepare carefully. Months ago, during the harvest season, they gathered grain from the fields. They stored vegetables in cellars. They salted meat. They stacked firewood. Now all of that preparation is being tested. For winter is not simply a season. In the medieval world, winter is a challenge. A test of patience. A test of planning. A test of survival. The eastern horizon begins to brighten. A faint silver glow spreads across the snow-covered countryside. As daylight slowly arrives, details emerge from the darkness. Beyond the village lie open fields. In summer these fields would be green and alive. Now they rest beneath a blanket of snow. The earth sleeps. The crops sleep. Even the insects are hidden from view. Everything waits for spring. You continue walking toward the center of the village. There you find the well. The wooden bucket hangs frozen beside it. A thin layer of ice covers the water below. Soon villagers will arrive carrying buckets. Breaking ice and gathering water is one of the many tasks that cannot wait, even during the coldest days. Life continues. Winter changes many things. But it never stops daily work. A church bell suddenly rings. Its deep sound rolls across the landscape. One slow note. Then another. The bell tower rises above the village like a silent guardian. Snow clings to its stone walls. For generations this bell has marked the passing hours. It has rung during harvest celebrations. It has rung during weddings. And it has rung during long winters such as this one. The villagers hear the bell and begin emerging from their homes. A farmer carrying an axe heads toward a woodpile. A woman wrapped in wool carries a basket. Children step cautiously into the snow, leaving tiny footprints behind them. Their breath dances in the morning air. Some laugh. Others hurry back indoors after discovering just how cold the morning has become. As the sun finally rises, golden light spreads across the village. The snow sparkles like thousands of tiny diamonds. The frozen landscape glows with warmth despite the cold. It is beautiful, quiet, peaceful. And yet everyone knows that winter demands respect. The weather can change quickly. A clear morning can become a fierce snowstorm by afternoon. Travel can become dangerous. Food must be carefully rationed. Firewood must be protected from moisture. Every resource matters. You pause beside a cottage and listen. Inside, a family is sharing breakfast. Perhaps a bowl of porridge made from oats or barley. Perhaps a piece of dark bread baked several days earlier. Simple food. But filling food. The kind that helps people endure cold months. The smell is warm and inviting. For a moment, you imagine sitting beside their fire, listening to the crackling wood, watching shadows dance across stone walls, feeling safe from the cold beyond the door. The village grows busier as morning continues. Yet compared with modern life, everything moves slowly. There is no hurry, no rush, only the steady rhythm of daily survival. And perhaps that rhythm is what makes this world feel so peaceful. The snow absorbs sound. The wind whispers through bare branches. Smoke drifts lazily into the sky. The church bell occasionally echoes across the fields. The entire village seems wrapped in a blanket of calm. As the morning progresses, you leave the center of the village and walk toward the surrounding countryside. Ahead lies a frozen forest. Its trees stand silent beneath layers of snow. Their branches create intricate patterns against the pale winter sky. Somewhere within those woods are hunters, woodcutters, and travelers. Their stories will come later. But for now, you simply stand at the forest's edge. watching, listening, breathing in the crisp winter air. The medieval winter day has only just begun, and many stories still wait to be told. So settle in comfortably. Allow your eyes to grow heavy, and let the peaceful snow-covered world of the Middle Ages carry you gently towards sleep. The morning has fully arrived. Snow continues to rest upon the rooftops of the village, sparkling beneath the pale winter sun. The air remains cold, but inside the cottages, another world exists. A warmer world. A world built around fire. As you approach a small timber cottage, smoke curls gently from its chimney. The wooden door opens for a moment. A wave of warmth escapes into the frosty air before the door closes again. Inside, a medieval family is beginning another winter day. Unlike modern homes, medieval houses have no central heating. There are no radiators, no electric heaters, no heated floors. The fireplace is everything. It provides warmth. It provides light. It provides a place to cook food. Without it, winter would be nearly impossible to survive. Step quietly inside. The room is simple. Stone floors, wooden beams, rough walls. A large hearth dominates one side of the house. Bright flames dance across thick oak logs. Orange light flickers gently throughout the room. The fire never truly goes out during winter. Someone is always watching it, even at night. Allowing the fire to die completely could mean hours of discomfort while trying to restart it. Sometimes families carefully preserve glowing embers beneath ash before bedtime. In the morning, these hidden coals can be revived into fresh flames. This small act saves valuable time and effort. Around the hearth sits the entire family. Grandparents, parents, children. Even the household animals occasionally seek warmth nearby. Cats curl into tight balls beside the fire. Dogs stretch out comfortably on the floor. Sometimes chickens wander indoors during severe weather. The fireplace becomes the center of life. Nearly every activity happens within its warm glow. The villagers understand something important. Heat is precious. Every piece of firewood matters. Months before winter arrived, families spent countless hours gathering wood. Large stacks now stand beside houses and barns, covered carefully against snow and rain. A family that fails to collect enough wood may face a dangerous winter. As a result, chopping firewood becomes one of the most important tasks of the year. Outside, you can hear the steady rhythm of an axe striking a log. Thump. Pause. Thump. Pause. The sound echoes softly through the snowy village. A farmer works patiently, adding another pile of split wood beside his home. He knows that winter is far from over. Inside the cottage, people wear layers of clothing. Medieval clothing is designed for warmth rather than fashion. Undergarments made from linen sit beneath thick wool garments. Heavy cloaks provide additional protection. Some wealthier individuals own garments lined with fur. Rabbit fur, fox fur, sheepskin. These natural materials trap heat remarkably well. Even while indoors, people rarely remove all their outer layers during winter. The cold always finds a way inside. Despite the fire, many cottages remain chilly. Small gaps around doors and windows allow cold air to enter. Stone walls absorb winter temperatures. Wind sometimes whistles through tiny cracks. People simply learn to live with it. At night, staying warm becomes even more important. The sun disappears early during winter. Darkness arrives long before bedtime. As evening approaches, families prepare sleeping areas carefully. Beds look very different from modern mattresses. Many are simple wooden frames filled with straw. Some are little more than piles of blankets. To stay warm, entire families may sleep close together. Shared body heat helps everyone survive freezing nights. Heavy wool blankets cover them. Animal furs add another layer of insulation. Sometimes curtains surround beds, trapping precious warmth. These simple methods make a tremendous difference. Imagine lying beneath thick blankets while winter winds howl outside. The room is dimly lit by the last glow of the fire. The smell of wood smoke lingers in the air. The sounds of the village gradually fade. Only the occasional crackle from the hearth remains. It feels surprisingly cozy, particularly after spending time outdoors in the snow. Winter also influences how buildings are constructed. In northern regions, homes often have low ceilings. This helps trap heat. Smaller rooms are easier to warm than large open spaces. Doors are thick. Windows are small. Every design choice reflects centuries of experience surviving cold weather. The wealthy enjoy certain advantages. Inside castles and manor houses, enormous fireplaces burn throughout the day. Servants constantly carry fresh logs. Rich tapestries cover stone walls. These decorative fabrics serve an important purpose. They reduce drafts and help retain warmth. Yet even castles can feel cold. Massive stone structures are difficult to heat completely. Many castle residents spend much of their time near fireplaces, just like ordinary villagers. Winter creates a strange equality. Everyone depends upon fire. Everyone seeks warmth. Everyone listens to the comforting crackle of burning wood. As afternoon passes, clouds begin gathering overhead. The sky darkens slightly. A few snowflakes drift downward. The villagers barely notice. Snow is simply part of life now. Children continue playing near cottages. Farmers continue their work. Woodcutters continue splitting logs. Life moves forward. Slowly. Steadily. Comfortably. As evening approaches once more, golden light fills the village. Smoke rises from dozens of chimneys. Each plume marks a home where families gather around fires, preparing meals, sharing stories, escaping the cold. The entire village glows softly against the snowy landscape. A collection of tiny islands of warmth surrounded by winter. You pause for a moment and watch this peaceful scene. The fading sunlight reflects across snow-covered rooftops. The air smells of wood smoke and pine. Church bells ring gently in the distance. The world feels calm, safe, unhurried. And as darkness settles over the medieval village once again, fires continue burning behind wooden doors. Their warm light flickering through tiny windows, guarding families against the long winter night. Tonight, as you rest, imagine yourself beside one of those ancient hearths, listening to the crackling fire, feeling its warmth upon your face, and allowing the peaceful rhythm of medieval winter life to guide you gently towards sleep. The fire burns steadily in the cottage hearth. Outside, snow drifts softly across the village. The fields are frozen. The orchard stands silent. The gardens that once produced vegetables and herbs now sleep beneath a blanket of white. Winter has settled firmly upon the land. And yet, despite the frozen landscape, the villagers continue to eat every day. This raises an important question. How did medieval people survive when almost nothing was growing? The answer begins many months earlier. Long before the first snowfall. Long before the cold winds arrived. During late summer and autumn, the entire village became busy preparing for winter. Every family understood a simple truth. Winter rewards preparation. A poor harvest could mean hunger. A good harvest could mean comfort and security. As you walk through the village, imagine yourself transported back to autumn. The fields are golden. Farmers gather wheat, barley, oats, and rye. Women collect vegetables from gardens. Children help gather apples, nuts, and berries. Every available hand participates. Nothing is wasted. Everything that can be stored is carefully preserved. Now, return once more to the snowy winter village. Beneath many cottages lies a hidden space. A root cellar. These underground storage rooms are among the most valuable parts of any medieval home. Protected from freezing temperatures, they provide a cool, stable environment where food can last for months. A wooden door creaks open. Stone steps lead downward. The air becomes cooler, darker, quieter. Rows of vegetables line wooden shelves. Turnips, carrots, parsnips, beets, onions, cabbages. These humble vegetables form the foundation of winter meals. They are not luxurious, but they are dependable. Many can remain edible for months when stored properly. Nearby stand sacks filled with grain. Wheat, barley, oats, rye. These grains are precious. Every loaf of bread depends upon them. Every bowl of porridge begins here. Throughout winter, families carefully measure their supplies. They know exactly how much remains, and exactly how long it must last. Above ground, another form of preservation hangs from wooden beams. Strips of meat. Months earlier, animals were slaughtered before winter began. Fresh meat could not last long, so people developed methods to preserve it. One of the most common methods was salting. Large amounts of salt were rubbed into meat. The salt removed moisture and slowed spoilage. The result could be stored for extended periods. The flavor was often strong, sometimes extremely salty, but it provided valuable nutrition during difficult months. Smoking was another popular technique. Inside smokehouses, meat hung above slow-burning fires. The smoke helped preserve it while adding a rich flavor. Even today, many traditional smoked foods owe their origins to these medieval practices. Nearby, wheels of cheese rest on wooden shelves. Cheese was an important winter food. Milk spoiled quickly. Transforming it into cheese allowed villagers to preserve its nutritional value. Some cheeses aged for months, others for even longer. A well-stocked cheese supply could be the difference between comfort and hardship. Honey also played a special role. Unlike many foods, honey naturally resists spoilage. A jar of honey could remain edible for years. Medieval families used it to sweeten food and preserve fruits. Dried apples, pears, plums, and berries sometimes joined the winter pantry as treasured treats. Imagine opening a small sack in the middle of January and finding dried apples collected months earlier. A simple pleasure, yet one greatly appreciated during the long winter season. As evening approaches, preparations for dinner begin. Inside the cottage, a large iron pot hangs above the fireplace. This pot is one of the most important possessions in the home. Almost every meal passes through it. Today, the family prepares a hearty winter stew. Water is added first, then vegetables from the cellar. A few onions, several carrots, perhaps some cabbage. A small piece of salted meat is chopped and added. Herbs collected during summer provide flavor. The stew simmers slowly for hours, filling the cottage with a comforting aroma. The smell drifts through the room. Warm, rich, inviting. The family gathers around the fire. Children watch the bubbling pot with anticipation. Outside, darkness settles over the snowy village. Inside, the stew provides both nourishment and comfort. Winter meals often look simple to modern eyes, yet they carry deep significance. Each ingredient represents careful planning, months of work, successful harvests, wise decisions. The meal tells a story of preparation and survival. Not every winter is easy. Occasionally storms arrive earlier than expected. Harvests fail. Supplies run low. During such times, communities rely on cooperation. Neighbors share resources. Families support one another. The survival of the village often depends upon these relationships. Winter reminds everyone that no one survives entirely alone. As the evening progresses, snow begins falling once more. Gentle flakes drift past the cottage windows. The fire crackles softly. The stew is finally ready. Wooden bowls are filled. Bread is passed around. Conversation remains quiet and peaceful. No one rushes. There is nowhere else to be. The world outside is cold and dark. But inside, warmth and food create a sense of security. Perhaps this feeling is one reason winter stories remain so comforting. The contrast between cold and warmth, between darkness and firelight, between scarcity and abundance. These contrasts make simple moments feel meaningful. You sit quietly beside the hearth, watching flames dance across the logs, listening to the occasional whistle of wind beyond the walls. The family finishes its meal. The pot remains near the fire. Tomorrow, whatever remains may become part of another stew. Nothing is wasted. Everything has value. Such is life in a medieval winter. And as the evening grows later, the cottage settles into silence. The fire glows softly. Snow continues to fall outside. And somewhere beneath the cottage floor, root cellars remain full of carefully preserved food, waiting patiently for another winter day. The morning arrives beneath a sky of pale gray. Fresh snow covers the village. The rooftops appear softer now, rounded by the weight of the night's snowfall. Thin columns of smoke rise from chimneys and disappear into the cold air. Most of the village remains quiet. But one place is already awake. One place glows brightly against the frozen landscape. The blacksmith's forge. As you walk through the snow-covered street, you notice the familiar sounds long before you reach the building. A metallic ringing echoes through the village. Clang. 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 Steady. Rhythmic. Almost musical. It is the sound of iron being shaped by skilled hands. The forge stands near the center of the village. Its walls are darkened by years of smoke. The roof carries a thick blanket of snow. Yet inside, another season seems to exist entirely. Winter remains outside. Fire rules within. You push open the heavy wooden door. Warm air immediately surrounds you. The difference is astonishing. Only moments ago your breath floated in the freezing air. Now your cheeks feel the heat of the forge. The room glows orange and gold. Sparks occasionally leap upward like tiny stars. At the center stands the blacksmith. A broad-shouldered man with strong hands and a face illuminated by firelight. His leather apron bears marks from countless years of work. Beside him burns the heart of the workshop, the forge itself. A bed of glowing coals burns with intense heat. A large bellows stands nearby. Every few moments, the blacksmith pumps it carefully. Fresh air rushes into the fire. The coals brighten. The flames grow stronger. The temperature rises. The forge becomes hot enough to soften iron. To medieval villagers, the blacksmith is one of the most important people in the community. Farmers depend upon him. Carpenters depend upon him. Merchants depend upon him. Even knights and soldiers rely upon his skills. Without a blacksmith, daily life would become much more difficult. Today he is repairing a plow blade. The iron glows deep red as it rests within the fire. After several minutes, he removes it with long tongs. The metal shines brightly, almost like a piece of the sun itself. He carries it to the anvil. Then comes the familiar sound. Clang, clang, clang. Each strike shapes the iron. The hammer falls with precision. Years of experience guide every movement. Tiny sparks scatter through the air. They drift briefly before disappearing. Outside, snowflakes fall from the sky. Inside, sparks fall from glowing metal. The contrast is beautiful. One cold. One hot. One silent. One loud. Yet both seem perfectly suited to the winter day. Nearby, tools hang neatly upon wooden walls. Hammers. Tongs. Chisels. Files. Each has its purpose.
Hey guys, tonight we explore a question that sounds surprisingly modern.
Himself.
Could people in the Middle Ages have had
Nothing
autism?
here is accidental.
So before you get comfortable, take a moment, like the video and subscribe,
but
only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here.
To another.
And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time
nearby.
it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world.
Equally important.
Now, dim the lights.
He organizes
Maybe turn
tools,
on a fan for that soft background
maintains the fire,
and let's ease into tonight's journey together.
Carries water,
to understand why medieval people probably included autistic
step.
Individuals, we first need to forget almost everything modern society associates with diagnosis. Imagine waking up in a small English village around the year 1300. There are no psychologists, no neurologists, no therapists, and certainly no online quizzes asking whether your habit of organizing spoons by size means something.
Villagers continue their daily routines. A farmer leads a horse through the snow. Children pull a small sled. A woman carries firewood toward her cottage. Life continues beyond the forge. But many of those people will eventually visit this building. Someone needs a broken hinge repaired. Another requires a new knife. A farmer may need horseshoes fitted before spring. The blacksmith's work touches nearly every aspect of village life. As the day progresses, visitors arrive. One man enters carrying a damaged axe head. Another brings a bent iron latch. They greet the blacksmith warmly. The forge is more than a workshop. It is also a gathering place. People exchange news here. Stories travel quickly around the warmth of the fire. During winter, such places become especially important. The long nights encourage conversation. The cold weather encourages people to gather together. By midday, Snow begins falling more heavily. The village gradually disappears behind a curtain of white. Visibility shortens. The world becomes quieter. Yet inside the forge, work continues uninterrupted. The fire never seems to tire. The hammer never seems to rest. The blacksmith moves confidently through the familiar rhythm of his craft. Heat. Hammer. Shape. Repeat. Heat. Hammer. Shape. Repeat. The pattern becomes almost hypnotic, like the ticking of a clock, or the steady sound of waves upon a shore. Hours pass. Daylight slowly fades. Winter afternoons are short. Darkness arrives quickly. The forge becomes even more beautiful as evening approaches. Outside, the village is blue and silver beneath the snow. Inside, everything glows amber and gold. The firelight reflects across polished tools. Shadows dance along the walls. The final job of the day is a set of horseshoes. The blacksmith carefully inspects each one. Satisfied, he places them aside. Tomorrow they will help a horse travel safely across icy roads. Another small contribution to village life. Another quiet act of service. At last, the workshop grows still. The visitors leave. The apprentice sweeps the floor. The blacksmith reduces the fire, not extinguishing it completely, only allowing it to rest. Much like the village itself. Outside, snow continues falling softly, covering footprints, blanketing fences, transforming the landscape into a peaceful winter dream. The blacksmith closes the heavy door behind him. For a moment he pauses, looking across the snowy village. Smoke rises from chimneys. Warm lights glow from cottage windows. Church bells ring faintly in the distance. It is the end of another winter day. A day of fire and iron. A day of hard work and quiet satisfaction. As darkness settles fully over the village, the forge falls silent. Yet its warmth remains. Just as the blacksmith's work remains present in every tool, every hinge, every horseshoe, and every plow throughout the community. And so, with the sound of distant wind and the memory of rhythmic hammer strikes lingering softly in your thoughts, allow yourself to drift deeper into relaxation. The fire grows dim. The snow falls gently. And the medieval winter night continues. The snow continues to fall. Outside, the medieval village rests beneath a thick white blanket. The narrow roads are quiet now. The fields have disappeared beneath the darkness of winter evening. A cold wind moves gently through the trees at the edge of the forest. Yet inside the cottages of the village, life continues. Warm, comfortable, and surprisingly peaceful. Tonight, we step away from the frozen world outside and enter one of these humble homes. The wooden door closes behind us with a soft thud. Immediately, the sounds of the winter night become distant. The crackling fire takes their place. Orange flames dance inside the hearth. Their light flickers across rough stone walls and wooden beams darkened by years of smoke. The room is not large. In fact, by modern standards, it is quite small. But every corner serves a purpose. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is unnecessary. A sturdy wooden table occupies the center of the room. Simple benches stand nearby. Shelves hold clay pots, wooden bowls, and a handful of treasured possessions. A woven basket sits beside the fireplace, filled with wool waiting to be spun into thread. Near the far wall stands a wooden chest. Inside are the family's most valuable belongings. Extra clothing. Important documents. Perhaps a few coins carefully saved over many years. The cottage is modest. Yet it feels welcoming. Safe. Especially on a winter night. The family gathers around the fire after finishing their evening meal. The day's hard work is done. Now comes a quieter part of life. The hours between supper and sleep. In the modern world, evenings are often filled with screens and bright lights. But medieval evenings are different. Darkness shapes everything. Without electricity, people follow the rhythm of the sun. Once night arrives, activities become calmer, slower, more reflective. A woman sits near the fire spinning wool. Her hands move with practiced skill, twisting fibers into thread. The spinning wheel turns steadily. Its gentle hum blends with the crackle of burning logs. This work may seem ordinary, yet it is essential. Clothing does not appear magically in medieval life. Every thread requires effort. Every garment requires patience. Nearby, another family member repairs a worn cloak. A needle moves carefully through thick wool fabric. Small tears are mended before they become larger problems. Winter clothing is too valuable to waste. Every piece must last as long as possible. Children sit close to the fire. Some play simple games using carved wooden figures. Others listen attentively as an elder begins telling a story. Stories are among the most cherished forms of entertainment in the medieval world. Books are rare. Many people cannot read. But everyone enjoys a good tale. The old storyteller clears his throat. The room grows quiet. Even the children stop fidgeting. Tonight's story concerns a traveler who became lost during a winter storm. As the tale unfolds, listeners imagine snowy forests, mysterious strangers, and distant castles. The firelight makes the story feel even more magical. Shadows move across the walls. The flames seem to bring the characters to life. For generations, stories have passed from one person to another in exactly this way. Spoken, remembered, shared. Winter is the perfect season for storytelling. Long nights provide ample time. Cold weather encourages families to stay indoors. The result is an environment where imagination flourishes. Many legends survive because of evenings just like this one. Outside, the wind briefly grows stronger. Snow taps softly against the cottage walls. The sound reminds everyone how fortunate they are to be indoors. Safe beside the fire. Warm beneath the roof. Protected from the winter darkness. The storyteller pauses. Someone adds another log to the hearth. The flames brighten. Fresh sparks rise toward the chimney. For a moment, everyone simply watches the fire. There is something deeply relaxing about it. The steady movement of the flames. The occasional pop of burning wood. The comforting warmth spreading throughout the room. Even after centuries, people still find fireplaces calming. Some experiences never change. A cat stretches lazily near the hearth. It has occupied the warmest spot in the cottage all evening. Now it curls into a tighter ball and closes its eyes. The children begin to yawn. One leans against a parent's shoulder. Another rubs sleepy eyes. The day has been long, and winter nights encourage rest. But before bedtime arrives, one final activity remains. The family joins together in song. Not a grand performance. Not a concert. Simply familiar melodies shared among friends and relatives. The songs tell stories of harvests, seasons, love, and faith. Their gentle rhythms fill the cottage. The voices blend together beautifully. No instruments are necessary. The human voice is enough. Outside, the village is almost silent. Inside, music briefly transforms the room. When the final song ends, a pleasant stillness settles over the cottage. The fire burns lower now. The storyteller's voice has faded. The sewing is finished. The spinning wheel rests quietly. One by one, family members prepare for sleep. Blankets are unfolded. Beds are arranged. Children are tucked beneath layers of wool. The cat barely opens one eye before returning to sleep. The last log of the evening settles deeper into the fire. Its glow fills the room with soft amber light. Soon only glowing embers remain. The cottage grows quieter. And quieter. And quieter still. Outside, snow continues falling gently over the medieval village. Covering rooftops. Covering roads. Covering fields. The entire world seems wrapped in peaceful silence. Inside the cottage, everyone sleeps. Dreaming beneath thick blankets. Protected by stone walls. Watched over by the fading glow of the hearth. And as you sit quietly beside those glowing embers, listening to the distant wind and the gentle breathing of a sleeping household, you too begin to feel your eyelids growing heavier. The warmth remains. The fire glows softly. The winter night deepens. And the peaceful life of a medieval cottage continues beneath the falling snow. The village sleeps peacefully beneath the winter sky. Most people remain close to their fires during this season. The roads are cold. The weather is unpredictable. And the comfort of home is difficult to leave behind. Yet not everyone can stay. Some journeys cannot wait. Messages must be delivered. Goods must be traded. Pilgrims must continue their travels. Merchants must reach distant markets. And so, even in the heart of winter, travelers venture out into the frozen world. Tonight, we follow one such traveler. The morning begins before sunrise. A pale moon still hangs above the snowy countryside. The village is quiet as a lone horse stands beside a cottage. Its breath rises in white clouds. Snow crunches beneath its hooves. Nearby, a traveler secures a wool blanket behind the saddle. A leather satchel hangs at his side. Inside are letters, a little food, and a few precious coins. The journey ahead may take several days. Perhaps longer if the weather turns unfavorable. He pauses for a moment before leaving, looking back at the warm glow of cottage windows. The sight is comforting, but the road is waiting. The horse begins moving slowly through the village. Past the church. Past the blacksmith's forge. Past the sleeping cottages. Soon the last roof disappears behind him. Only open countryside remains. At first, the journey feels peaceful. Fresh snow covers the landscape. The world appears untouched. Fields stretch endlessly beneath white blankets. Small forests stand silent beneath heavy branches. The only sounds are the horse's steady footsteps and the occasional call of a distant crow. The traveler pulls his cloak tighter. Winter air stings his face. Even thick wool struggles against such cold. Traveling in the Middle Ages is never easy. Roads are often rough. Many are little more than dirt tracks. In summer they become dusty. In autumn they become muddy. And in winter they disappear beneath snow and ice. The traveler must rely upon landmarks. A familiar tree. A stone marker. The outline of a distant hill. These signs help guide him through the frozen landscape. As the morning continues, clouds begin gathering overhead. The sunlight fades. A gray curtain slowly spreads across the sky. Snowflakes begin falling. Only a few at first. Then more. Soon the traveler finds himself riding through a steady snowfall. The world grows quieter. Snow absorbs sound. The landscape seems almost dreamlike. Soft. Silent. Endless. For a time, the journey remains pleasant. But winter weather can change quickly. Within an hour, the snowfall becomes heavier. Visibility decreases. Distant landmarks disappear. The road becomes difficult to follow. The traveler slows his horse, carefully watching for signs of the path beneath the snow. This is one of winter's greatest dangers. Not cold. Not hunger. but becoming lost. Without modern maps or navigation, losing the road can be serious, especially when daylight is limited. The traveler knows this. He studies the landscape carefully, searching for familiar features. Eventually he spots a cluster of pine trees ahead, just where they should be. Relief washes over him. He is still on course. The journey continues. By midday, he reaches a frozen stream. During summer, crossing would be simple. Today requires caution. A thin layer of snow hides the ice below. The horse hesitates. The traveler dismounts, testing the surface carefully. The ice appears strong. Slowly, they cross together. Each step deliberate. Each movement careful. At last they reach the opposite bank safely. Such crossings happen regularly throughout winter. Most succeed. Some do not. Nature always demands respect. The afternoon grows colder. A sharp wind begins blowing across the open fields. The traveler lowers his head. Snow swirls around him. The horse presses forward steadily. Neither speaks. Neither complains. Both simply endure. Winter travel requires patience. There is no way to hurry through a storm. There is only persistence. Hour after hour. Step after step. Eventually the road enters a forest. The change is immediate. Tall trees block much of the wind. Snow still falls, but more gently now. The forest feels peaceful, almost protective. Pine branches bend beneath fresh snow. Animal tracks weave between the trees. Perhaps a deer passed recently, or a fox searching for food. The traveler notices them briefly before continuing onward. As daylight begins fading, he knows it is time to find shelter. Winter nights arrive quickly. Traveling after dark is dangerous. The road becomes difficult to follow. Temperatures drop sharply. Even experienced travelers prefer safety when possible. Fortunately, a roadside inn stands a few miles ahead. Its reputation is modest. But warmth matters more than luxury. The traveler reaches it shortly before sunset. A welcome sight appears through the falling snow. Golden light shines from small windows. Smoke rises from the chimney. The building seems almost magical after a long day in the cold. He guides the horse toward the stable. Inside, the animal receives hay and water. Outside, snow continues falling. But for the night, the journey is over. The traveler enters the inn. Warm air surrounds him. The smell of stew fills the room. Voices murmur softly near the fireplace. Other travelers sit warming their hands beside the fire. Some share stories. Others simply rest. Everyone understands the challenges of the winter road. There is an unspoken sense of companionship. A shared respect for those who travel despite the season. The traveler finds a place near the hearth. His boots dry slowly. His hands regain warmth. The storm outside no longer matters. For now, he is safe, comfortable, protected from the cold. The fire crackles gently. The innkeeper serves a simple meal. Conversation drifts lazily through the room. The atmosphere is calm, relaxing. Exactly the kind of place where weary travelers can recover. Outside, darkness settles across the snowy countryside. The roads disappear beneath fresh snow. The forests grow silent. The fields rest beneath the stars. And somewhere far away, the village we left this morning continues its peaceful winter evening. As the traveler closes his eyes beside the fire, another day of winter journeying comes to an end. Tomorrow the road will continue. New landscapes will appear. New challenges will emerge. But tonight there is only warmth. Only rest. Only the gentle crackling of the fire and the soft whisper of falling snow beyond the inn's windows. And with those comforting sounds, the medieval winter night carries everyone a little deeper into sleep. Far from the village roads and bustling markets, beyond frozen rivers and snow-covered forests, stands a monastery. It rests upon a gentle hill overlooking the winter countryside. Its stone walls are ancient. Its towers rise quietly into the pale gray sky. Snow blankets the rooftops. Icicles hang from the edges of the buildings like crystal ornaments. The world around it feels still, timeless, peaceful. As dawn approaches, the monastery remains wrapped in darkness. Most people in the surrounding villages are still asleep. Yet inside these walls, the day is already beginning. A bell rings softly through the cold air. Its deep sound echoes across courtyards and cloisters. One by one, monks awaken from their simple beds. The rooms are small. The furnishings are modest. A wooden bed. A blanket. A stool. Perhaps a shelf for a few treasured books. Nothing more. The monks dress quietly. Wool robes help protect them from the winter chill. Sandals or simple leather shoes cover their feet. The stone floors are cold beneath them. Very cold. Yet this has been part of monastery life for generations. Comfort is not the goal here. Discipline and devotion guide daily life. The monks walk silently through dim corridors illuminated by candles. Their footsteps echo softly against stone walls. Outside, snowflakes drift through the darkness. Inside, candlelight flickers gently. The contrast creates a feeling of remarkable calm. Soon the monks gather in the chapel. Rows of candles cast warm golden light throughout the sacred space. The air smells faintly of wax and incense. A peaceful silence settles over the room. Then voices begin to rise. Slow, steady, melodic. The monks chant ancient prayers together, The sounds fill the chapel, echoing through stone arches and wooden beams. The chants seem almost timeless, as though they have existed forever. Outside, winter continues its quiet work. Snow falls upon rooftops. Wind moves through distant trees. Yet inside the monastery, another rhythm unfolds. A rhythm shaped by prayer, study, and reflection. After morning prayers, the monks begin their daily tasks. Some head toward the kitchens. Others tend to livestock sheltered within barns. A few clear snow from pathways connecting the various buildings. Life in a monastery requires work, even during winter. But perhaps the most fascinating task takes place inside a special room known as the scriptorium. This is where manuscripts are copied by hand. Imagine entering such a room. Long wooden tables stand beside narrow windows. Candles burn steadily despite the dim winter light. Sheets of parchment rest upon the desks. Small bottles of ink sit nearby. Several monks work quietly, each focused upon a single page. The room is almost completely silent. Only the scratching of quills can be heard. Scratch. Pause. Scratch. Pause. Every letter is written carefully. Every line requires concentration. Books are incredibly valuable in the medieval world. There are no printing presses yet. Every copy must be created by hand. The process takes weeks, sometimes months, occasionally years. Patience becomes a form of art. One monk carefully copies a religious text. Another decorates the margins with colorful illustrations. Tiny flowers, animals, golden patterns. Each detail is crafted with extraordinary care. The result will be a manuscript unlike any other. A unique object carrying knowledge across generations. Outside the scriptorium windows, snow continues to fall. The landscape appears almost monochrome. White fields, gray skies, dark trees. Yet inside, bright pigments bring pages to life. Blue, red, green, gold. A small burst of color against the quiet backdrop of winter. As midday approaches, the monastery kitchen becomes busy. Large pots hang above open fires. Vegetable soups simmer slowly. Fresh bread cools upon wooden tables. The smell drifts through nearby corridors. Simple meals are the norm. Nothing extravagant. Yet after a cold morning, even a humble bowl of soup feels satisfying. The monks gather together for their meal. Conversation remains limited. Silence is often valued within monastic life. Instead, they eat thoughtfully, listening to the crackling fire, listening to the wind beyond the walls, listening to the peaceful stillness that surrounds them. Afterward, some return to study. Others continue practical tasks. The monastery functions much like a small village. Every person contributes. Every task matters. Winter changes certain routines. Gardens rest beneath snow. Fields lie dormant. Travel becomes less frequent. But learning never stops. Prayer never stops. The steady rhythm of monastery life continues. As afternoon fades into evening, daylight begins disappearing once again. Winter days are short. Shadows lengthen across the courtyard. The bell rings. Its familiar sound signals another gathering. Monks return to the chapel. Candles glow brightly against the approaching darkness. Once more, voices rise in gentle harmony. Ancient words echo through stone halls. The chants feel even more beautiful at night. Perhaps because winter amplifies silence. Perhaps because candlelight creates such a peaceful atmosphere. Or perhaps because these sounds have comforted people for centuries. Outside, snow settles softly upon the monastery roofs. The world beyond the walls grows dark. But within, warmth remains. Light remains. Purpose remains. Eventually the final prayers conclude. The monks extinguish many of the candles. Only a few remain burning. Their flames flicker gently in the darkness. One by one, the brothers return to their rooms. The corridors become quiet. The scriptorium falls silent. The kitchen grows still. Only the distant wind can be heard. The monastery sleeps. Snow continues falling beneath the stars, covering pathways, covering rooftops, covering the footprints of the day. Tomorrow the bells will ring again. The candles will be lit again. The manuscripts will continue growing one careful letter at a time. But tonight there is only peace. Only silence. Only the gentle glow of candlelight reflected upon ancient stone. And as you sit quietly within this winter monastery, listening to the distant whisper of snow and the fading echoes of evening chants, you feel yourself growing calmer. More relaxed. More peaceful. The medieval winter night deepens. The candles burn low. And sleep draws a little closer. Morning arrives slowly over the winter countryside. A thin layer of fresh snow glitters beneath the first light of dawn. The monastery bells ring faintly in the distance. Smoke rises from village chimneys. The world seems quiet and still. Yet today is market day. And despite the cold, people are already preparing. Winter may slow life, but it does not stop it. Trade must continue. Goods must move from village to village. Merchants must travel. Markets must open. Without trade, many communities would struggle to obtain the items they cannot produce themselves. As the sun rises higher, villagers begin gathering near the market square. Some arrive on foot. Others travel by cart. A few come riding sturdy horses accustomed to winter roads. Everyone is bundled in layers of wool and fur. Their breath forms small clouds in the cold air. The market square gradually comes alive. Wooden stalls appear one by one. Canvas coverings are stretched into place. Tables are arranged. Baskets are unloaded. Soon the once quiet square is filled with activity. A farmer displays sacks of grain harvested months earlier. Nearby, another offers wheels of cheese carefully aged through autumn. Bundles of firewood stand neatly stacked. Barrels of salted fish wait beside them. Every item has value during winter. Nothing is taken for granted. The smell of fresh bread drifts through the cold air. A baker has arrived early. His cart is filled with loaves still warm from the oven. Villagers gather nearby. The simple aroma attracts customers immediately. Even in medieval times, few smells were more comforting than freshly baked bread on a cold winter morning. As the market grows busier, merchants from distant places begin arriving. These travelers have spent days or even weeks crossing snowy roads. Their journeys have not been easy. Yet they bring treasures unavailable in local villages. One merchant unloads bolts of fine cloth, deep blue wool, rich red fabric, soft linen. The colors seem almost magical against the white winter landscape. Another merchant displays small sacks of spices, cinnamon, pepper, cloves. These rare goods have traveled astonishing distances. Some began their journey thousands of miles away, crossing deserts, crossing seas, passing through countless hands before finally reaching this small medieval market. Most villagers cannot afford large quantities of such luxuries. Yet even a tiny amount can transform a meal. The scent alone sparks curiosity. People gather around, examining the exotic treasures. Nearby stands a trader specializing in metal goods. Knives, locks, horseshoes, cooking tools. Many were crafted by skilled blacksmiths in distant towns. The workmanship attracts attention. Customers inspect each piece carefully before making decisions. Every purchase matters. Coins are limited. Choices must be made wisely. Children weave through the crowd. Their excitement is impossible to hide. Market day brings more than goods. It brings entertainment, news, stories, the opportunity to see people from beyond the village. For young children especially, the market feels like an adventure. An elderly storyteller has found a place near the center of the square. Soon a small crowd gathers around him. He begins sharing tales of distant kingdoms, snow-covered mountains, ancient castles, mysterious forests. His listeners become completely absorbed. For a few moments, the cold is forgotten. Only the story matters. Meanwhile, the merchants exchange news gathered during their travels. Information spreads quickly in medieval markets. A traveler from one region might know of a recent harvest. Another may bring reports of weather conditions far away. Someone else has heard news from a large city. Markets serve as communication networks long before newspapers or radios exist. People come not only to buy and sell, they come to learn. By midday, the square is bustling. Voices mingle together. Laughter rises occasionally above the crowd. Horses shift impatiently beside carts. Snow crunches beneath countless boots. The entire village feels energized, alive, connected to a much larger world. The winter sky remains pale and gray overhead. Yet the market itself is full of warmth. Not physical warmth like a fireplace, but social warmth. The warmth of conversation, of community, of shared experience. As afternoon approaches, a light snowfall begins once more. Tiny flakes drift through the air. Some land upon market stalls. Others settle upon hats and cloaks. No one seems concerned. Winter snow is simply part of life. Business continues. A merchant carefully wraps purchased cloth. A farmer negotiates over a sack of grain. Children chase one another through the falling snow. The market endures. Eventually, however, daylight begins fading. Winter afternoons never last long. Merchants recognize the signs. The time has come to prepare for departure. Goods are packed. Coins are counted. Horses are harnessed. One by one, the stalls disappear. The lively market gradually returns to an empty square. Footprints remain in the snow. A few scattered bits of straw mark where carts once stood. The excitement slowly fades. Yet everyone leaves carrying something. Perhaps food. Perhaps cloth. Perhaps a new tool. Or perhaps simply a story heard from a traveler. As evening settles over the village, merchants continue along snowy roads toward their next destination. Their wagons creak softly. Lanterns glow against the approaching darkness. Ahead lies another town. Another market. Another chapter in their journey. Back in the village, families return home. Fires are lit. Meals are prepared. The events of the day become topics of conversation around the hearth. Someone discusses a merchant from a distant city. Someone else describes an unusual spice. Children excitedly repeat the stories they heard. The market may be over, but its influence remains. Outside, snow falls gently once again, covering the footprints left behind. The square grows quiet. The roads grow silent. The village settles into another peaceful winter night. And as the last merchants disappear into the snowy distance, the medieval world becomes calm once more. The fires glow warmly. The wind whispers softly. And sleep drifts gently across the winter landscape. The days have grown shorter. The nights seem longer than ever. Snow covers the fields, forests, and village roads. Winter has settled deeply across the land. Yet amid the cold and darkness, a special season has arrived. A season of celebration. A season of light. A season that people throughout the medieval world eagerly anticipate. The Winter Feast. For much of the year, life in the village follows a practical rhythm. Work. Harvest. Preparation. Survival. But during certain days of winter, ordinary routines pause. Families gather. Neighbors visit. Church bells ring more often. And homes become filled with warmth, food, and laughter. Long before sunrise, villagers are already awake. Smoke rises from nearly every chimney. Inside cottages, fires burn brightly. The smell of baking bread fills the air. Today is not an ordinary day. Today is a feast day. Perhaps Christmas. Perhaps another winter celebration observed in the region. Whatever the occasion, the feeling is unmistakable. Excitement hangs in the air. Children sense it immediately. Even adults move with a little more energy than usual. The village itself seems transformed. Evergreen branches decorate doorways. Candles glow in windows. Fresh rushes have been spread across floors. Simple decorations bring color and life to the winter landscape. In a world without electric lights, candlelight carries special meaning. A single flame can make a dark room feel welcoming. Dozens of candles can make it feel magical. As morning progresses, preparations continue. Large meals require time. Much time. Women knead dough upon wooden tables. Men carry extra firewood. Children assist however they can. Everyone contributes. Everyone has a role. Near the center of the village, the church bell rings. Its familiar sound echoes across snowy rooftops. Families begin gathering.
Wrapped in cloaks and wool garments, they walk carefully through the snow. The church itself glows softly with candlelight. Inside, voices rise together in song. Ancient hymns fill the stone building. Their melodies drift upward toward wooden beams darkened by centuries of smoke and time. For many villagers, this gathering represents one of the most important moments of the year. A chance to reflect. To give thanks. To find comfort during the darkest season. After the service concludes, people return home. Now the feast truly begins. Inside cottages and manor halls alike, tables fill with food. For wealthier households, the display can be impressive. Roasted meats. Freshly baked pies. Cheeses. Honey cakes. Dried fruits. Spiced wines. For ordinary villagers, meals are simpler. Yet still far more abundant than on most days. Extra bread. A special stew. A precious piece of preserved meat. Perhaps a sweet treat saved specifically for this occasion. The important thing is not luxury. It is sharing. Imagine entering a medieval hall during one of these celebrations. The room glows with firelight. Candles flicker along tables. The scent of roasted meat fills the air. People smile. Talk. Laugh. For a little while, worries about winter seem distant. The cold remains outside. but warmth fills the room. Music soon follows. A traveling musician may play a lute. Someone else brings a flute. Others clap along with familiar songs. The melodies are cheerful, simple, easy for everyone to join. Children dance. Adults sing. The atmosphere becomes joyful. Perhaps not extravagant by modern standards, but deeply meaningful. Stories are shared as well. Some are humorous. Others are legendary. Tales of saints, heroes, kings, and mysterious creatures said to wander snowy forests. The younger listeners sit wide-eyed near the fire. Every story feels larger beneath the glow of candlelight.
As afternoon turns into evening, snow begins falling once more. Soft flakes drift past the windows. The village grows quieter outside. But inside, celebrations continue. A sense of togetherness fills every room. Winter can be difficult. The medieval world knows this well. Food supplies may be limited. Travel may be dangerous. Storms may arrive unexpectedly. Yet gatherings like these remind people that they do not face such challenges alone. Community becomes its own kind of warmth, one that no snowstorm can extinguish. Hours pass pleasantly. The fire crackles. The candles burn steadily. Conversations drift lazily from one topic to another. No one hurries. No one watches a clock. The evening unfolds naturally. Eventually, the youngest children begin growing sleepy. Their excitement slowly gives way to yawns. One by one, they curl up beside parents or grandparents. Wrapped in blankets. Comfortably exhausted from a day of celebration. The music grows softer. The stories become quieter. The feast gradually winds down. Outside, the snow-covered village lies beneath a sky filled with stars. The church bell rings once more in the distance. Its sound seems gentler now, almost dreamlike. Families begin returning home. Lanterns glow along snowy paths. Footprints mark the fresh snow. The night is cold, yet hearts feel warm. Inside cottages, fires are carefully tended before sleep. The last candles flicker. The final conversations fade. Soon only silence remains. A peaceful silence. The kind that follows a good day. A meaningful day. A day spent with family, friends, and neighbors. And as the medieval village settles into sleep beneath the falling snow, the memory of laughter, music, and candlelight lingers softly in the air. Winter remains long. But tonight feels bright. Tonight feels warm. Tonight feels timeless. The fire burns low. The stars shine above. And another beautiful chapter of medieval winter comes gently to an end. The feast day has passed. The village sleeps beneath another blanket of fresh snow. Far beyond the cottages and frozen fields, rising above the countryside on a rocky hill, stands a medieval castle. Its stone towers reach toward the gray winter sky. Its walls have endured countless seasons, countless storms, countless winters. Today, another snowstorm is approaching. Dark clouds gather along the horizon. The wind begins to strengthen. And soon, the ancient fortress will once again prove why castles were built to withstand both enemies and nature itself. As dawn breaks, the castle appears almost magical. Snow clings to every tower and battlement. The surrounding landscape is silent. Only the distant cry of a raven disturbs the stillness. From a distance, the fortress seems peaceful. But inside its walls, the day has already begun. Servants move through corridors carrying firewood. Guards patrol the walls despite the cold. Cooks prepare breakfast in enormous kitchens. Life within a castle never truly stops. The great wooden gates remain closed against the winter weather. Beyond them lies the frozen world. Inside lies a small community of its own. Entering the castle courtyard, you notice the contrast immediately. The stone walls provide protection from much of the wind. People move purposefully between buildings. A stable boy leads horses toward shelter. A servant carries baskets of supplies. A messenger hurries across the snow-covered courtyard. Everyone has duties to perform. Winter changes some routines, but responsibilities remain. Above the courtyard, guards stand watch upon the battlements. The cold here is intense. The wind sweeps across the high walls without mercy. Wool cloaks flap behind them. Snow gathers around their boots. Yet they remain alert. A castle must always be protected, even during a snowstorm. Fortunately, today's threat comes not from enemies but from nature. The sky grows darker as morning continues. Snowflakes begin to fall. At first, they drift gently downward, almost lazily. Then the snowfall grows heavier. The storm has arrived. Within an hour, visibility decreases dramatically. The countryside beyond the castle walls disappears. The world becomes white. Completely white. The storm transforms the landscape. Trees vanish behind curtains of snow. Roads become impossible to see. The castle itself appears isolated from the rest of the kingdom, like an island surrounded by a frozen sea. Inside, however, life remains surprisingly comfortable. The great hall serves as the heart of the castle. Massive fireplaces burn continuously. The flames cast warm golden light across stone walls. Long wooden tables stretch through the room. Colorful tapestries hang from the walls. Not only for decoration, they also help keep out drafts. Even with such efforts, castles are rarely warm by modern standards. Stone absorbs cold remarkably well. Many rooms remain chilly throughout winter. People simply adapt. They wear extra layers, stay close to fireplaces, and appreciate every source of warmth. Near one fireplace sits the lord of the castle. He studies reports from nearby villages, food supplies, weather conditions, road conditions. Winter affects everyone under his care. A harsh season requires careful management. The Lord knows this. Leadership during winter often depends upon preparation made months earlier. Nearby, several servants work quietly. One mends clothing. Another polishes silver. A third replenishes logs beside the fire. Their movements are calm and practiced. Each task contributes to the smooth operation of castle life. Elsewhere, deep within the fortress, the kitchens remain busy. Perhaps busier than any other area. Large fires burn beneath iron pots. Stews simmer slowly. Fresh bread bakes inside ovens. The smell fills nearby corridors, comforting anyone fortunate enough to pass through. The cooks understand the importance of hearty meals during winter. Food provides more than nourishment. It provides morale. Warm soup on a cold day can lift spirits remarkably well. As the storm intensifies outside, the castle becomes even cozier. People gather indoors. Conversations grow longer. Stories are shared. Games are played. Musicians occasionally perform in the great hall. The storm creates an unexpected opportunity. A chance to slow down. A chance to enjoy the warmth and companionship found within the fortress walls. Meanwhile, snow continues piling against the outer defenses. The battlements become white ridges. The courtyard gradually disappears beneath fresh drifts. The wind howls around towers and chimneys. Yet the castle stands firm. It has faced far worse. For centuries, castles have served as places of refuge during difficult times. Storms, wars, famines. The thick stone walls have witnessed them all. As evening approaches, the snowfall finally begins to ease. The clouds break slightly. A faint glow appears in the western sky. The storm is passing. Servants light additional candles throughout the castle. Golden points of light appear in windows overlooking the snowy countryside. From a distance, the fortress resembles a giant lantern shining against the darkness. Inside the great hall, dinner is served. People gather near the fireplaces. The atmosphere feels peaceful, secure. The storm outside has made the warmth inside feel even more precious. After the meal, some residents remain awake discussing news and stories. Others retire to their chambers. The castle gradually grows quieter. The fires burn lower. The candles flicker softly. Outside, the snow-covered landscape sparkles beneath emerging stars. The storm has left the world transformed. Fresh. Silent. Beautiful. At last, even the guards upon the walls find themselves gazing across the moonlit countryside. Everything seems calm. The kingdom rests beneath winter's gentle embrace. And within the castle, protected by ancient stone walls and glowing hearths, another peaceful night begins. The wind fades. The snow settles. The fires crackle softly. And the medieval winter continues its timeless journey through the long season of cold and quiet wonder. The snowstorm has passed. The castle stands quiet beneath a sky filled with stars. Across the countryside, villages, monasteries, farms, and lonely inns settle into another winter evening. But tonight feels different. Tonight is the longest night of the year. The winter solstice. The night when darkness seems to linger forever. For medieval people, this night carried a special kind of mystery. Without electric lights illuminating the landscape, darkness felt deeper than it does today. Forests became shadows. Roads disappeared. The world beyond the firelight became unknown. And where mystery exists, stories soon follow. As evening falls, families throughout the village gather around their hearths. The day's work is finished. The animals are sheltered. The doors are secured against the cold. Now only the fire remains. Its warm glow fills cottages with flickering light. Shadows dance across walls. The perfect setting for storytelling. Tonight, an elderly villager sits near the hearth. His face is illuminated by orange flames. Children gather nearby, wrapped in blankets, eyes wide with anticipation. They know what is coming. Winter stories. The old storyteller smiles gently. He waits until the room grows completely quiet. Even the crackling fire seems to listen. Then he begins. His voice is low and steady. He tells of travelers who wandered too deep into snowy forests. Of mysterious lights seen dancing among distant trees. Of ancient kings buried beneath frozen hills. Hidden treasures protected by spirits of the winter night. The children listen carefully. Every word captures their imagination. Outside, the wind whispers softly against the cottage walls. The timing could not be better. For centuries, winter nights have inspired tales both wonderful and strange. Many stories serve practical purposes. Parents use them to teach lessons, to encourage caution, to remind children not to wander far from home. Others exist purely for entertainment. A chance to pass long evenings with a little excitement. One popular legend concerns a mysterious traveler. According to the tale, he appears only during heavy snowstorms. He carries a lantern that never goes out. Some claim he helps lost travelers find their way home. Others insist he leads them deeper into the wilderness. No one knows which version is true. And perhaps that uncertainty is what makes the story memorable. Another tale speaks of a bell heard ringing from beneath a frozen lake. Only on the coldest winter nights can the sound be heard. Some believe an ancient village lies beneath the ice. Others think it is merely the wind. The storyteller never reveals the answer. A good mystery should remain mysterious. The children lean closer to the fire. Their imaginations transform ordinary sounds into extraordinary possibilities. A creaking beam becomes a hidden spirit. A gust of wind becomes a wandering traveler. A distant animal call becomes something far more mysterious. Yet despite the eerie subjects, the atmosphere remains comforting. No one feels afraid. Not really. The fire burns brightly. Family surrounds them. The stories create excitement rather than fear. They make the night feel larger, more magical. Across the village, similar scenes unfold. In one cottage, grandparents share tales remembered from their own childhoods. In another, neighbors exchange local legends. At the inn, travelers entertain one another with stories gathered from distant lands. Each tale grows slightly with every retelling. A small adventure becomes a grand journey. A curious event becomes a legend. This is how stories survive, passed from one generation to the next, long before books become common, long before movies or television. Words alone create entire worlds. Outside, the winter night deepens. The moon rises above snow-covered fields. Its pale light reflects across the landscape. Everything glows softly. The roads appear silver. The rooftops sparkle. The forest stands dark and silent at the edge of the world. It is easy to understand why medieval people found winter so mysterious. The season transforms familiar places. A simple field becomes an endless white plain. A small grove becomes a shadowy wilderness. Even ordinary sounds seem different, more distant, more significant. Back inside the cottage, the storyteller reaches the final tale of the evening. This one is gentler than the others. It tells of a shepherd who became lost during a blizzard many years ago. After wandering through the storm, he discovered a warm cottage glowing in the darkness. Kind strangers welcomed him inside, fed him, sheltered him, and helped him find his way home the next morning. When he returned later to thank them, the cottage had vanished. No one in the region knew anything about it. Was it real? A dream? A miracle? No one can say. The storyteller simply smiles and allows the question to linger. The children love this ending. It feels mysterious, yet hopeful. A reminder that not all unknown things are frightening. Sometimes they are simply wonderful. The fire has burned low now. The youngest children struggle to keep their eyes open. Parents begin preparing for bedtime. Blankets are unfolded. Candles are extinguished one by one. The storyteller finishes his final sentence. Silence returns. A peaceful silence. Outside, snow glows beneath moonlight. The longest night continues. But it no longer feels dark. Not after so many stories. Not after so much imagination. The legends have filled the night with life, with wonder, with possibility. As everyone settles into bed, the last embers glow softly within the hearth. Their warmth remains. Their light remains. And somewhere in the snowy countryside, beneath the stars and winter moon, countless stories continue drifting through the cold air. Stories carried from one generation to another. Stories that make the longest night feel just a little shorter. The village sleeps. The fire fades. The snow sparkles quietly outside. And the peaceful world of medieval winter drifts gently onward. The longest night has passed. Morning arrives quietly across the medieval countryside. A pale golden light spreads across the snow-covered landscape. The village remains peaceful. Smoke rises from chimneys. Frost glitters on rooftops. The world seems calm and still. Yet beyond the fields, deep within the forest, a different kind of day is beginning. Today is a hunting day. Winter hunting serves many purposes in the medieval world. For some, it provides food. For others, it offers fur for clothing and blankets. For nobles, it can also be a test of skill and endurance. Whatever the reason, winter hunters must be patient. The forest demands respect. As dawn breaks, a small group prepares for the journey. Heavy wool cloaks protect them from the cold. Leather boots crunch through fresh snow. Simple bows hang across their backs. A few carry spears. Their equipment is practical rather than decorative. Everything has a purpose. Nothing unnecessary is brought along. The hunters leave the village before sunrise. Soon the last cottages disappear behind them. Ahead lies the forest. Ancient. Silent. Covered in snow. The trees stand like great pillars beneath the winter sky. Pine branches bend under the weight of fresh snowfall. Oak trees stretch bare limbs toward the heavens. The deeper the hunters travel, the quieter the world becomes. Snow absorbs nearly every sound. Even footsteps seem muted. Only the occasional creak of a branch disturbs the silence. The forest feels peaceful, almost sacred. One hunter kneels suddenly. He points toward the ground. Tracks. Fresh tracks. The marks are easy to see against the white snow. A deer passed through here not long ago. The group gathers around, carefully studying the signs. Tracking animals is an important skill. Every footprint tells a story. The size reveals the animal. The depth suggests its weight. The direction shows where it is heading. Experienced hunters learn to read these clues as easily as reading words on a page. The trail continues deeper into the forest. The hunters move slowly, patiently. No one speaks above a whisper. There is no need. The forest itself encourages silence. As they walk, winter reveals details often hidden during other seasons. Without leaves covering the ground, animal tracks become easier to spot. Foxes, rabbits, deer, birds. Every creature leaves evidence of its journey. The snow transforms the forest into a giant map of movement. Hours pass peacefully. The hunters follow the trail across frozen streams and through groves of pine. The air remains cold but refreshing. Each breath feels crisp and clean. Sunlight filters through the trees, creating patterns of gold and silver upon the snow. It is remarkably beautiful. Even those who came seeking game cannot help admiring the landscape. At midday, the hunters pause to rest. A small clearing offers shelter from the wind. They sit upon fallen logs. Simple food emerges from leather bags. Bread, cheese, perhaps a little dried meat. Nothing elaborate. Yet after hours of walking, the meal feels satisfying. Steam rises from their breath as they eat. Above them, a raven glides silently between the trees. For a while, no one says much. The forest itself provides enough company. The stillness is calming. The sort of stillness that invites reflection. After the break, the hunt resumes. Soon the deer tracks become fresher. The signs are unmistakable now. The animal is nearby. The hunters proceed with even greater care. Every step is deliberate. Every movement controlled. At last, through the trees, a deer appears. It stands quietly in a snowy meadow. Its breath forms small clouds in the cold air. For a moment, everyone remains perfectly still. The deer is magnificent, strong, alert, beautifully suited to this winter world. The hunters observe respectfully. In medieval life, hunting is rarely viewed as sport alone. Food is valuable. Resources matter. The natural world commands respect. The deer represents survival. A gift from the land itself. What happens next depends upon skill, patience, and fortune. But our story focuses less on the outcome and more on the experience. The journey. The forest. The connection between people and nature during winter. As afternoon approaches, clouds begin gathering overhead. Snow threatens once more. The hunters decide it is time to return. The journey home follows a different path. One that leads through valleys and alongside frozen streams. The forest grows darker as daylight fades. Yet there is no fear. Only quiet appreciation. Winter forests can seem mysterious from afar. But for those who know them well, they are places of peace. Places of beauty. Places where the rhythm of nature becomes impossible to ignore. Eventually, the first signs of civilization appear. A distant church bell. Smoke rising from chimneys. The outline of cottages against the horizon. The village welcomes the hunters home. Warm fires await. Hot meals await. Stories await. As evening settles over the countryside, families gather indoors once more. The hunters share tales of the day's journey. The deer tracks. The frozen streams. The raven soaring through snowy trees. The beauty of the forest. Children listen eagerly, imagining the adventure. Perhaps dreaming of joining such expeditions someday. Outside, snow begins falling gently again. The forest disappears into darkness. The tracks slowly vanish beneath fresh layers of white. Nature erases the evidence of the day, preparing a blank canvas for tomorrow. Inside the cottages, however, the memories remain. The crackling fire provides warmth. The winter night provides calm. And somewhere beyond the village, beneath ancient pines and moonlit snow, the forest waits patiently for another dawn. The hunters rest. The deer wander silently through the trees. The snow falls softly. And medieval winter continues its peaceful journey through the season. The winter forest grows quiet behind us. The hunters have returned home. Snow continues falling softly across the countryside. The village settles into another peaceful evening. Yet while families gather around warm fires, there are other members of the community who also need care during winter. The animals. For medieval villagers, livestock are more than possessions. They are essential companions in daily life. Cows provide milk. Horses help with travel and farming. Sheep provide wool. Chickens provide eggs. Without these animals, survival would be far more difficult. And during winter, keeping them healthy becomes one of the village's most important responsibilities. Before dawn, while much of the village still sleeps, a farmer steps outside into the freezing air. His boots crunch through fresh snow. A lantern glows softly in his hand. His destination is the barn. As he opens the wooden door, a wave of warmth greets him. Not the warmth of a fireplace, but the natural warmth created by the animals themselves. Inside stand several cows, a pair of horses, a few sheep. The animals stir gently as the farmer enters. They know this routine well. Winter means spending more time indoors. Unlike summer, when animals graze in open fields, winter requires shelter. The barn becomes their world for weeks at a time. The farmer moves carefully among them, checking water, inspecting feed, making sure every animal appears healthy. A sick animal can become a serious concern during winter. Prevention is always easier than treatment. Outside, snow continues accumulating across the fields. The grass beneath has disappeared. This creates another challenge. Food. Months earlier, during summer and autumn, villagers prepared for exactly this moment. Large quantities of hay were harvested and stored in dry lofts. Now those supplies become invaluable. The farmer climbs a wooden ladder into the hayloft above. Golden hay fills the space. Its sweet scent contrasts pleasantly with the cold winter air outside. Using a pitchfork, he lowers fresh bundles below. The animals immediately become interested. Soon the barn fills with the gentle sounds of feeding, quiet chewing, occasional snorts, the rustle of hay. These sounds create a peaceful rhythm. A rhythm repeated every winter day. Horses require special attention. Their strength makes them valuable. Even during winter, they may be needed for travel or hauling supplies. The farmer brushes one horse carefully, removing moisture and dirt from its coat. The animal stands calmly. Its breath rises in soft clouds. The bond between people and animals often grows stronger during winter. There is more time spent together, more daily care, more shared routines. Meanwhile, the sheep gather closely together. Their thick wool protects them remarkably well from cold weather. In fact, sheep are often among the most comfortable animals during winter. Their dense fleece acts like a natural blanket. Still, shelter from wind and storms remains important. Even hardy animals benefit from protection. As morning progresses, children arrive to help. Winter chores are rarely performed alone. Everyone contributes. One child carries water. Another distributes feed. A third gathers fresh straw. These tasks teach responsibility, and they help ensure the survival of the household. Throughout the day, snowflakes drift quietly from the sky. The village remains calm. The fields rest beneath white blankets. The forest stands silent in the distance. Inside the barns, however, life continues. Warm, steady, comforting. As evening approaches, the farmer performs one final inspection. Lantern light flickers across wooden walls. The animals appear content, federal, sheltered, safe. Satisfied, he closes the barn door. Outside, darkness settles over the countryside. Stars begin appearing overhead. Smoke rises from cottage chimneys. The familiar sounds of evening return. Church bells, crackling fires, distant voices. The animals settle down for the night. The cows lie upon fresh straw. The horses rest quietly. The sheep gather together in warm groups. Tomorrow will bring another winter day. Another round of feeding. Another routine repeated across countless medieval villages. But tonight, all is peaceful. The barn is warm. The animals are safe. The snow falls softly beyond the walls. And the quiet rhythm of medieval winter continues beneath the stars. The night is calm. The animals rest peacefully within their barns. The villagers sleep beneath thick blankets. The fires have burned low. Only glowing embers remain in many hearths. Outside, snow continues to fall. Softly, steadily, patiently. Tonight, rather than staying in one place, we will journey across the kingdom itself. We will drift above the snowy landscape like a silent winter breeze, visiting villages, forests, castles, monasteries, roads, and rivers, all resting beneath the same blanket of snow. Far to the east, dawn begins to touch the horizon. The first light spreads across frozen fields. Every hill and valley sparkles beneath fresh snow. The kingdom seems transformed. Familiar landmarks appear softer now, gentler, more peaceful. The snow hides rough edges. It smooths pathways. It quiets the world. In a small farming village, smoke rises from a handful of chimneys. The people have not yet awakened. The roads remain untouched. No footprints disturb the snow. For a brief moment, everything is perfectly still. The village resembles a painting, a scene preserved in time. Nearby, a frozen stream winds through the countryside. During spring it rushes with water. During summer it reflects bright skies. But now it lies silent beneath a layer of ice. Snow has gathered along its banks. Small animal tracks cross its surface. A fox passed here during the night, perhaps searching for food, perhaps simply exploring the winter world. The fox itself is nowhere to be seen now. Only its footprints remain. A temporary story written upon the snow. As we continue our journey, forests appear upon the horizon. Endless forests. Ancient forests. Their trees stand motionless beneath heavy white branches. Pines and firs create dark patterns against the pale landscape. From above, the forest resembles a vast sea. A sea of green and white. Hidden within are deer, foxes, hares, owls, countless creatures adapted to winter life. Most remain unseen, their presence revealed only through tracks and occasional movement among the trees. The forest is quiet, but it is not empty. Life continues beneath the snow. Further north, a monastery rests upon a hill. Its stone buildings glow softly beneath the morning light. Snow covers rooftops and courtyards. The bell tower rises above everything else. Soon the monks will awaken. Candles will be lit. Prayers will begin. The steady rhythm of monastery life will continue. For now, however, the monastery sleeps. Its silence blends perfectly with the silence of winter. Nearby, a narrow road stretches across the countryside. A single traveler moves along it. His horse walks carefully through the snow. The journey is slow, but peaceful. The traveler pauses occasionally to admire the landscape. Winter can be difficult, yet it also possesses a beauty unlike any other season. The world feels larger somehow, calmer, more thoughtful. As midday approaches, sunlight breaks through the clouds. The effect is remarkable. Snow-covered fields begin to shine. Every crystal reflects light. The entire kingdom seems to glow. Even distant mountains sparkle along the horizon. The beauty is almost overwhelming. And yet, for medieval people, scenes like this are familiar. Winter is not a spectacle. It is a companion. A season that returns year after year. A season woven into everyday life. By afternoon, our journey brings us to a castle. Its towers rise above the snowy countryside. Fresh snow covers the battlements. The courtyard below shows signs of activity. Servants move between buildings. Guards patrol the walls. Smoke rises from dozens of chimneys. The castle stands strong against winter, just as it has for generations. Inside its walls, fires burn warmly. Meals are prepared. Stories are shared. Life continues despite the cold. Beyond the castle, rolling hills stretch toward the horizon. Snow drifts gather along stone fences. Small villages dot the landscape, each one a tiny island of warmth within the vast winter world. As evening approaches, shadows lengthen. The sunlight becomes golden, then amber, then soft shades of pink and purple. The kingdom changes once more. Winter sunsets possess a special beauty. The colors seem richer against the snow. More dramatic. More memorable. Villagers pause briefly to admire the sky. Even after countless winters, such moments never lose their charm. Gradually darkness returns. Lights begin appearing across the kingdom. Candles in monastery windows. Lanterns outside inns. Firelight glowing from cottage doors. Each point of light represents people. Families. Friends. Communities. All sharing the same winter night. The roads grow quiet. The forests grow dark. The frozen rivers reflect moonlight. Stars appear overhead, one by one, until the sky becomes a tapestry of silver lights. Snow continues falling gently, covering tracks, covering roads, covering fields. The kingdom seems to breathe more slowly beneath its white blanket. Peace settles everywhere. The villages rest. The castles rest. The monasteries rest. Even the forests seem to rest. Winter has a way of encouraging stillness, of inviting reflection, of reminding the world to slow down. And as our journey across the kingdom comes to an end, we find ourselves once again surrounded by silence. A beautiful silence. A comforting silence. The kind that exists only on snowy winter nights. The moon shines softly overhead. The snow glows beneath its light. And the medieval kingdom sleeps peacefully beneath winter's gentle embrace. The long winter is beginning to change. Not suddenly. Not all at once. But slowly. almost imperceptibly. The kingdom still lies beneath snow. The forests remain quiet. The rivers are still edged with ice. Yet something feels different. Something subtle has shifted. The days are becoming longer. The sun lingers in the sky a little later each evening. Morning arrives slightly earlier. The darkness that once seemed endless is beginning to retreat. For months, winter has ruled the land. Snowstorms have crossed the countryside. Fires have burned in cottages and castles. Villagers have lived carefully from the stores gathered during autumn. The season has been peaceful, beautiful, and sometimes difficult. But now spring is awakening beyond the horizon. The first signs appear quietly. A farmer notices that snow has begun melting along the southern side of a stone wall. Tiny patches of earth emerge from beneath the white blanket. Dark soil becomes visible once again. Elsewhere, water drips steadily from rooftops during the warmest part of the day. The sound is gentle, almost musical. Drip, drip, drip. A simple sound, yet one that announces change. The village notices these signs immediately. After months of cold weather, every hint of spring feels important. Children become especially excited. They search for the first green shoots appearing beside pathways. The first flowers remain weeks away. But anticipation is already growing. One morning, a villager hears an unfamiliar sound. Bird song. For much of winter, the landscape has been quiet. Now a few birds begin returning. Their voices echo through the countryside. Small reminders that warmer days are approaching. The forests notice the change as well. Snow still rests beneath the trees. Yet the sunlight feels different. Brighter. Stronger. The long shadows of winter gradually shorten. Animals become more active. Deer venture farther from sheltered areas. Foxes travel familiar routes through the woods. Life begins stirring once again. At the monastery, monks walk through courtyards where snowbanks are slowly shrinking. At the castle, servants clear pathways no longer buried beneath fresh snowfall. At farms throughout the kingdom, people begin discussing the coming planting season. Plans are made. Tools are repaired. Seeds are checked. Hope quietly returns. Winter has taught patience. Now spring offers possibility. The rivers change too. Ice that seemed permanent begins weakening. Small channels of flowing water appear. Soon entire streams are moving freely again. The sound of running water returns to the countryside. A sound absent for many months. The villagers welcome it. The water feels alive. The landscape feels alive. Everything feels as though it is awakening from a long sleep. Weeks pass. The transformation continues. Snow retreats from fields. Grass begins appearing. The kingdom slowly exchanges white for green. One afternoon, farmers gather outside their cottages. The weather is mild enough to work comfortably. Children run across open ground no longer hidden beneath snow. Dogs chase one another through muddy paths. The village feels different now. More energetic. More active. More hopeful. Yet despite the excitement, there is also a certain appreciation for the winter that has passed. Winter brought quiet evenings beside the hearth. Stories shared by firelight. Snow-covered forests. Peaceful journeys. Candlelit monasteries. Warm cottages. And long nights filled with stars. The season had its own beauty. Its own rhythm. Its own lessons. Now a new chapter begins. The fields await planting. The roads become easier to travel. Markets grow busier. The kingdom awakens. As evening arrives, the setting sun casts golden light across the landscape. The remaining snow glows softly. Birds sing from nearby trees. Smoke rises gently from village chimneys. The scene feels familiar, yet renewed. The long winter is ending. Spring is beginning. And life moves forward once more. Tonight, the village rests peacefully. Not beneath heavy snowstorms. Not beneath endless darkness. But beneath a sky filled with promise. The stars shine overhead. The air feels softer. The future feels closer. And as you settle comfortably into sleep, imagine yourself standing at the edge of that medieval village. Looking across green fields where snow once lay. Listening to birdsong replacing winter silence. Feeling the warmth of the returning sun. The story of winter has reached its end. The kingdom has endured. The people have endured. And spring has finally arrived. Thank you for joining this journey through the peaceful world of a medieval winter. May the gentle sounds of crackling fires, falling snow, distant church bells, and quiet village life stay with you as you drift into a deep and restful sleep.